What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew, and the AFL, in a great show of kindness, has decided to finally tell everyone when the Geelong Football Club, as well as every other team in the competition, is going to be playing between round 16 and 23. Of course, up to this point, we've known the opposition, we've known the location, we've not known when, and now we finally have some details. Before we dive into all of it, I'm going to rant and rave a little bit because I can't stand the floating fixture idea, what they've been doing. I understand it got brought in during the COVID years, and that's when things were very tumultuous and messy, but we're not in that day and age anymore. So I'm going to just quickly get this off my chest and say, AFL, this is bullshit. Can we please stop it? Can we get back to a real fixture where every single person knows when and where their team is going to be playing? People book tickets, people travel, people do all sorts of things. They want to budget for this stuff. And to not know when your team is playing for almost half the season is absolutely ridiculous. I will cop round 24 and the needs to optimize it for finals and finals participants. That's totally fine. But otherwise, it is complete and utter garbage. We need to put an end to it now, please. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's move on. The AFL has put out the fixture here for round 16 through to 23. And as Cats fans, this gives us something to analyze a little bit here. I'm going to make sure that I guess, timestamp this a little bit and disclose that I'm recording this before Geelong has played Port Adelaide here, round 10, May 17th. I'm recording this the morning of the match. And I want to pick through the fixture a little bit here with the disclosure that we haven't played that match yet. We are currently 5 wins and 4 losses. We've got a tough little block of games to come. And then, of course, the fixture itself going forward. Before we get into all of that, though, let's take a word from our sponsor.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 12 11 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. Now, before we jump into round 16 through 23, take a bit of a look at the road to come for the Cats, because, of course, there are some pretty challenging matchups ahead of us. So we, of course, begin, as I mentioned before, this is recorded the day of. Geelong and Port Adelaide will play later today, and Geelong are currently the favourites for that matchup. But who knows at this particular point? It's been a strange, topsy-turvy, tumultuous season. We've got players that are in. Jack Henry and Lawson Humphries are supposed to come in, but there's been rumblings that George Stevens' family has been told to come across to Adelaide, so there might be an opportunity there with a late out. Don't know what that means then for a win-loss for the Cats. It's a very challenging sort of period for everyone here. I'd like to think, though, we can go across Adelaide and win it. I think we've won 7 of our last 8 there, and that bodes really well for us going forward. Port still aren't flying despite putting up a pretty good fight in the showdown last week. We then have a really challenging matchup against the Dogs. The Dogs beat us last time at GMHBA Stadium in a really sloppy affair. Horrible weather. They kind of pantsed us, really. And the Dogs are flying at the moment. So are the Cats. I think the ladder position for both teams probably belies where they're really at. But of course, there's been some alterations based on the games that have been played so far this round. I think the ladder position kind of perhaps understates where both teams are at right now. But it's going to be a really fascinating matchup. Hopefully we can get the win. Hopefully the home ground advantage gives us just that little bit of an edge over a really tough team. And hopefully the troops are back in full force for next week as well. That will really help. It feels like we've been playing difficult game after difficult game after difficult game for pretty much the entire season now. So we get a little reprieve of sorts the following week when we play against the West Coast Eagles. Dead last, winless. Maybe that changes this weekend. But winless Eagles right now, we should go over there. It's probably an opportunity to rest a few blokes and still get the win regardless. Another tough matchup here. The Gold Coast Suns, who are absolutely flying at the moment now, admittedly. They are bashing up teams up north. And I'd say they've still got a little bit of work to do to prove themselves once they leave Queensland or Darwin. But they are undoubtedly a very serious opponent. And they come to play us at GMHBA, which helps. Good thing we're not going up there to Darwin and don't have to relive what happened last year. But that itself is also going to be a tough matchup. So we're still talking about at least 2 out of 4 at the moment that are pretty difficult games. The Bombers, I don't rate the Bombers. I know as I record this, they've won 5 of their last 6, but they've also beaten some opponents who've been really struggling at different stages. And I don't make too much of it. They're also severely depleted in the key position stocks. I think this will be another win for the Cats. The Lions, the return matchup here between the Cats and the Lions at GMHBA. Hopefully we can split the win-loss 1-1 off the back of this particular matchup. And then we have the bye. That will then lead, which is the beginning of our round 16 to 23 block here. But yeah, for us, it kicks off with a bye. So from here, we're now going to, and I'm going to quickly remove some assets and bring some new ones up. We're now going to flick over to the Geelong website where they've kind of summarized a few of the key details for us here, and then we'll go through the week by week. So of the final 8 games of the season, Geelong will host 4 of them at GMHBA. One of those is a Friday night game against the Bombers at GMHBA as well. I've mentioned, we've had a very tough block to begin the season, but it gets a bit softer on the way home. So you can see here, we're going to host Richmond at GMHBA in round 17, the Saints round 19, Port Adelaide in round 21, and Essendon in round 22. Now, I know the Saints got us earlier in the year. I know that they've kind of given us a bit of a fright at GMHBA in the past as well. You'd like to think we win that game. Port Adelaide, you'd like to think we win that game. And I think the others are more formalities than anything else, especially at GMHBA. So there's 4 of 8 straight away, I think, before we even look at the other matches. But let's continue on. We can kind of look through some of the other key details here. We're also going to travel to Melbourne in round 20 for a Saturday night match against North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. I was really, selfishly, and because North Melbourne have been a struggling team for such a long time, I was really selfishly hoping this would be a Saturday daytime game. I could take my son to his first game at Marvel. That's not to be because it's going to be too late for him. The Cats will also take on the Giants at Energy Stadium. We've got a better record up there than we've got playing against the Giants at home at the moment. So who knows what to make of that game. But a Saturday twilight one there. Trips to New South Wales to face Sydney on a Sunday afternoon as well. And of course, the round 24 matchup is still part of the floating fixture for the back end of the season for finals. But of course, Richmond for a second time in about within 10 games, it's a nice soft way to finish the season into finals. A bit like against West Coast last year, we got to probably pants a team at the very, very end of the season, go in flying form. But the AFL's got to confirm those details later on. There's some commentary here from King, but let's kind of move on and kind of get into some of the core details here. This is an important one, though. From a performance perspective, our 5 and 6 day turnarounds are balanced out with 2 8-day breaks and a 9-day break, with a bye at round 16, giving the team a 15-day break to tackle the back end of the season. So we've got some nice pacing there. I can't stand a 5-day break, but they exist. It's a reality of the fixture as things stand, so we'll have to deal with that there. But yeah, that's kind of how things look there. Let's jump to the fixture and look at some of these remaining games. So, as we've alluded to already, some of the 4 of these 8 are at GMHBA. Geelong and Richmond, Saturday, July 5th, 4:15, so a twilight game, GMHBA Stadium. Should mark that in for a win. The Giants and the Cats, that's at Energy Stadium. That's probably for me, when I think about the fixture for the remainder of the season, for me, that is the big matchup. If we can win that, we're going to position ourselves really well, because I honestly think, without even having to scroll through and go detail by detail for the rest here, I reckon we win we win 7 out of 8 at least, bar some sort of disastrous hiccup or something against a team. We win 7 out of 8, and then it's, do we beat the Giants? And there's going to be a little bit of sting in the tail, absolutely, off the back of a loss at home earlier in the year. We can go square that ledger 1-1 as well. So 4:15, another Saturday twilight game there for the Cats against the Giants. We then play the Saints at GMHBA Sunday, July 20th at 1:10. Should mark that down for a win. Also, 1:10. Maybe I'll have to bring my son to that one. Round 20, Geelong and North Melbourne, Saturday 26th. So this is the nighttime game we're talking about at Marvel Stadium, 7:35. Should mark it down as a win. Round 21, Port Adelaide at GMHBA Stadium. So the return fixture from what we've got this weekend. Hopefully the Cats are looking to go up 2-0 in that particular matchup this year, the head-to-head this year. Sunday, 3:20, GMHBA Stadium. The Cats and the Bombers, 7:40, August 8th at GMHBA Stadium. We've then got the Swans to wrap up the currently known fixture at the SCG, Sunday, 3:20. So another twilight game there. Geelong's getting a lot of those kind of luxurious Saturday, Sunday twilight games at the moment. And then, of course, there's round 24, which is still TBD, but we're finishing our season at the MCG where we're going to have to hopefully play a few finals. So I quite like this run home. Everything really for me go in terms of Geelong's prospects. Do we make top 4? All of those sorts of conversations. All of it really hinges on the fixture from here up until round 15. Again, round 16 being the bye. So let me bring that one back so we can kind of reflect on it a little bit. What can we expect from the Cats now? So again, we're talking about round 10 through to round 15. This is the most important block of Geelong's season now, as far as I'm concerned. We are 5-4. We've got at least 7 out of 8. There's 12 wins straight away. But what do we do with what remains? So we talk about the Cats and the Power. Let's go 6-4. Let's be well ahead of the 50-50 ledger here. Let's go 6-4 against the Power this week. But with this block of games, you look at that and you go, okay, we should, based on how the season has progressed up to this point, we should beat Port. We should beat the Eagles, and we should beat the Bombers. And then that leaves the Lions, the Suns, and the Dogs. And I would love to see us go 2-3. So 2 of these games are at GMHBA. All 3 of these games are at GMHBA Stadium. That gives us a massive advantage against 3 top teams. I want to think that of this block of 6 games coming up before the bye, that we can go 5-6. Takes the Cats to 5 of 6, I should say. So we, there you go. We're talking about being 10-5 at the point of our bye. It's a great position to be in. With then, as I said before, probably 7 out of 8 that should be sure things. We're talking about a 17-win season. It's a very good position to be in. Geelong has positioned themselves quite nicely, and that's allowing for at least 1 loss at home, which doesn't often happen. It seems to happen all the time against the Giants, but otherwise it doesn't happen very often. This could be a fantastic run into finals. A top 4 position beckons, and I'm pretty confident. So Cats fans, let me know what you think of Geelong's fixture for round 16 through to 23. Factor in round 24 in the conversation. How do you think we need to perform across this upcoming 6 games? What can we manage 5 out of 6? Can we win 6 out of 6? What should we expect from the Cats in this window of time? And can we finish top 4? Can we finish top 2? What is that going to look like for us? Let me know in the comments what you think. And it's going to be a fascinating run from here to September. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's heaps of awesome content. We've got post-game live, match reactions, the Chaps Chat Cats, the Paul James Show twice a week, and a whole lot more. So make sure to check all of the awesome stuff out that we're doing there. You can find us on Patreon as well. We have early access content, extended content, and exclusives, a 7-day free trial period as well, where you can check all that stuff out. And if you like it, it only costs $5 or $6 per month to continue to subscribe and get all of that exclusive content delivered to your email inbox as it pops. You'll find me on socials at Paul James Games. The Hoops Crew is at The Hoops Crew. And until next time, remain Geelong strong, everyone. Can we win? What did I say? 5? And can we win 12 of the remaining games of the season? I'm feeling pretty good about it. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you later.